Crypto plus Metaverse equals next level economy.
Wonderful. Thank you all for being here. Let's start off right away. I don't want to have any delays. First of all, thank you both for coming out to the panel. Love for you to introduce yourselves. We'll just go down and then we can start with some questions.
Hello, hello. Okay. Well, nice to meet everyone here. My name is Maggie. I am part of the team of a DAO. So I believe only in 2022 can you start a brand and a DAO from a single tweet. That's basically how the DAO started. My background is in legal. I've been in the space since 2017. And yeah, lots of learnings in the space in the last 6 years.
Nice to meet you, everyone. My name is Sami Sipilä. I'm CEO of Housemaster, and I run as well a gambling affiliate called Beasts of Poker. So Housemaster is focused in the crypto gaming side. We are looking to put the $100+ billion in iGaming to work that are sitting idle on the gaming accounts at the moment. And obviously, the marketing side of the gaming is fairly familiar to me due to the affiliate business.
Definitely, thank you. So today I really want to focus on crypto and the economies of the metaverse. So obviously, as I'm sure you know, there's centralized and decentralized metaverses. And then there's going to be really the interoperability, but also how the metaverses interact. So the first question, and I want to pass it to you, is how do you see Web 3.0 and the metaverse economies functioning compared to Web 2.0 and what we've seen? What does this change look like, and what is this going to mean for creators and people in business?
That's a great question. Can everyone hear us okay? I'm not sure about the volume. Okay, all right. So especially with COVID, you know, everything is moving digital, everything from your art gallery to, you know, the concerts. And I just read a report by Citibank that you're estimating the whole metaverse economy is going to be as big as $13 trillion in the next 5 years. So this is a crazy market. And the way I'm seeing it is that everything from the land developers to the e-commerce websites to a lot of the brands that just wants a new exposure to the global economy is now going to move into metaverse. And there's a few different ways of like moving into the metaverse. So obviously there's all the VR sets. You know, the gaming space is like a huge player in a play to earn right now. And then also for a lot of the e-commerce website right now, if you think about, for example, a lot of the fashion brands, you're already having a NFT that represents a digital version of the clothes, right? Like I don't need to really dress up anymore if I'm working from home every day. And so a lot of it is how do we kind of leverage the current audience and the current products of the brands, and how do we create a digital version of it in the metaverse? And that digital version would be valuable to the people collecting it. So like players, a lot of the just people working day to day. It could be for social. It could be for your workplace as well. So there's all these different segments in there. The space is so new. It's still in its infancy, and that's the exciting part. But the way I'm seeing the metaverse economy is that through all these different elements, through the influencer marketing, a lot of brands are going to now come in and have that digital version of their physical product. And that's how consumers are going to be interacting with the brands and also learn about the brands. So like I would say if you're someone with a brand or a e-commerce project right now, that this might be an interesting angle to at least look into it and to get more knowledge in so that you're not leaving behind.
I just want to add on to that. How do users that want to get into the space, and actually I'll pass the question to you, Sammy, how do they decide which metaverse to go with? Or do they develop their own infrastructure? What does this look like in your eyes?
So I think obviously when the people are choosing the metaverse, it's going to be pretty much community driven. So I see that in the future, metaverses as well are going to be very much community developed. So we have the technology, for example, in low code is developing extremely fast. If anybody almost anybody can be developing their own piece of metaverse in the future. So I see that the metaverse has become community-driven, and you are going to see some segmentation. There might be some differences in geographies, like we have now in games as well. But I see that like you have whole new sets of communities and so-called tribes coming out of it, basically.
And I feel that companies are very comfortable in Web 2 right now, right? If you have, your own brand, you're an entrepreneur, maybe you're a Fortune 500 company, they're very comfortable in Web 2, right? They have a website, they sell online, they allow other companies to launch, for example, e-commerce, right? You can have companies like Shopify that you can build on their platform. How are companies going to move into the metaverse? Like, for example, let's talk about larger companies, right? Fortune 500 companies. How are we going to see this progression? Are we going to see it? And if so, what timeline do you expect to see?
That question for me?
Please.
Okay. So I was just talking with one of my friend outside. They actually own the Metaverse Group, which is the largest real estate development company for the Metaverse. So that is like one of the ways big Fortune 500 companies can go into the Metaverse. You partner with someone who already owns a ton of land in Decentraland, in Sandbox, at other side, and basically they already have the entire in-house gaming and 3D modeling facilities. So all the Unity, all these 3D engines, they would basically do the whole thing for you. So you as the brand would just have a vision of, okay, let's say I am Gucci, I want to have a Gucci garden in Decentraland. Where am I going to position that land? Because the same with the real estate in our own land. Like, where are you going to build the next Gucci store? Probably downtown Toronto, right? Like, that's the prime location. Same with Decentraland. There's going to be different prime locations. So you would find out where you want to build it. You would kind of think about what's the vibe. It's going to be on brand with my current vibe. And then once I scope those out, I will go find the best partner to go build a land for me. And then I would have a link on my website to direct my current customer into this new Metaverse store. So that when people come in, the entire experience is seamless between my current website and what they're going to experience in the Metaverse.
Definitely. Location, location, location. It's all about that in real estate. I'm very curious, just to add on to that, is there grounds for larger companies that have hundreds of millions or billions of dollars to spend to create their own infrastructure and then have other companies even come and utilize their metaverse or their infrastructure they've developed?
Absolutely. I would think right now, because we're so new, kind of like how Internet Web 2.0 was developed, you're going to have all these different pockets of metaverse lands. And so anyone who has a really strong community right now, when they come in, they're going to just bring the entire community in and they're going to create their own metaverse. Like Facebook is going to have their own metaverse, but that's only going to be one walled garden. Hopefully, we're all going to be having all these different metaverses where we can interrupt. Interoperability is going to be so important. Actually,
Definitely.
If anyone who doesn't have a wallet right now, absolutely get a wallet. That's basically your passport in between all these different metaverses. So highly recommend that.
For sure. I'm curious, because you're in the gambling space and in the iGaming space, how do you see the metaverse playing a role in that economy? Because right now, we can have brick and mortar casinos, right? And I know we spoke about this a little bit earlier, but with brick and mortar casinos, you essentially don't have that fear of your capital being, taken away from you, stolen, there being scams, security. How is this going to play a role not only with crypto casinos, but also with the integration in the metaverse?
So actually, we are launching our proof of concept casino first, and it's going to be launching in a upcoming metaverse called Sinverse, which is a GTA-themed metaverse as well, and we are placing the casino in the gambling strip, basically. So I see in the iGaming space, I see metaverse as a massive opportunity for the operators. You have people who have done certain level of KYC in some context in places where you can place your casinos, and look, if in the future people are going to spend more than 50% of their time in the new reality, spend more than 50% of their money in the new reality, as an operator, you got to be in that space. So it's it's an enormous opportunity for the first ones who enter the space. So it's something where you have to be. As a security, I think the technology is developing all the time in the Web 3.0 space, and obviously there has been issues like with any new technology. But I don't believe that the transition is going to be immediate. When you are actually going to move the entire iGaming industry to Web 3.0, the requirement is that like it's pretty much bulletproof at that stage. So we still have a bit of work to do, obviously.
What's your time frame on that? I'm curious.
Actually, I was estimating as a strategy consultant future already 15 years ago, and I was always too eager.
We're holding you on this.
Eager in my estimates. So I think in less than 5 years we are going to see credible players who are rising from that space, to be honest.
Definitely, for sure. I'm curious, and to both of you, I'll toss this question. Do you see there being a point, and if so, where one's digital self becomes more valuable or perceived as more valuable than in real life, than their in real life self and their identity?
I can take that first. I would say yes. I think as AI, blockchain, robotics are all coming together, like I see that point of singularity. Like, has everyone heard of singularity? Yes, raise your hands. Or no? Yes? Okay. Yeah, I see that point of singularity where I think everything in the real world, there's already a digital version of it online, with the websites. With Metaverse, it's only going to accelerate that entire adoption curve. And I think as we're building everything, like, the wallet example we're talking about, if all your, every website you go is being tracked in your wallet, all your cryptocurrencies and all your NFTs are held in one wallet, and that basically is your digital avatar. Like, it's kind of like Ready Player One. If that is your entire identity, then I can see a point where that becomes more valuable than our identity in the physical world. So I don't need to buy clothes anymore. I can just have the clothes for all my avatars, as an example.
Before I pass on, when do you see that happening?
Probably beyond 5 years. Let's say 5 to 10 years. Still a little optimistic.
But you see this kind of behavior already taking place. So you see that the traditional status symbols have now been not replaced, but there are new status symbols as well, like owning valuable NFTs, etc. So those are actually part of your virtual image. My sauna session was interrupted, which I was having with my friend a few weeks ago, because he had to lead his tribe to a battle in an online game. He's a cashier in a gas station in real life, but he's a boss man in Web 3.0. And probably in the future, he might be, even because he's a leader there, he might be paid for his services as well. So I think your virtual image is actually replacing or becoming more important to you as your real life image in many cases.
I'm gonna dive down on that point. So I've heard of stories of more than a few people, and these are people I know or in the communities I know, that are making a living based on the play to earn model, right? So they could be someone from some of the developing countries. They could be someone working the gas station, and now because they're a really good player, they're now earning the entire living based on the games they're streaming or the NFTs they're collecting. So yeah, definitely your digital avatars could actually up your level in the physical one.
I definitely agree with that. In fact, one of the things we're doing at NFT Technologies, being the publicly traded entity now which is traded on NEO, is we have a gaming guild called Goat Guild. So we actually work with hundreds of scholars all over the world, being able to provide them access to assets and NFTs that they couldn't before. And within Axie Infinity specifically, people all over the world can make a living or double a living than what they're currently making just based on playing these games. Now, I want to go back to this. So since the market has, crashed in recent months and we have seen the verge of a possible crypto winter, what does this mean for not only, those individuals, but also just, again, people of the economy, like creators of the creative economy? What does it mean for them in terms of what they're working on, and how does that play a role in the metaverse and its future?
So I feel like anytime we have a new technology, we're going to go through this up and down, right? Just like how the internet, the whole .com bubble, and then out comes Facebook, Google, Amazon. We're going to see the same thing here. So I'm actually happy. I was chatting with my friend down there earlier. I'm actually happy that the NFT bubble has bursted a little bit because you're hearing about this $69 million art that gets sold. Every single artist is now like going into the NFT space and selling it. There's this huge bubble that's just not sustainable. And now that the market has crashed and sustained itself, a lot of people are leaving the space because they can no longer make the money. And so the people that are staying are going to be those good projects that, after a few years, you're going to see the next Amazon or the next Google coming out of this. So I see this as a good timing for people who are serious about learning to get into the space, like really get your hands dirty, join different DAOs. There's so many Discord groups, so many Telegram groups, like anyone can learn. The hard thing is trying to discern, what is that next Google or what is that next Netflix? I'll actually pass the question to you. How do you discern different projects? How do you know which project could have more value than other ones? We did not prepare for this, but I feel like this is a good question.
I'm very traditional in a business way, so I think if the referring to the previous panel, if the underlying infrastructure is solid and based on a solid business idea, and there is a realistic forecast, that is a project that is going to survive. So you have an actual product, you have actual users, maybe not now, but in the future who will be interested in that, to pay actual money. I think those projects will thrive in the future.
Yeah, I think especially true in the gaming space. If they already have a lot of users, in gaming, or I'm part of the social media project as well, that's they want to move into Web3. They already have a lot of users, so yes, it will be a lot easier for them to move into Web3 with the current users.
Yeah, if I may add to your point, Maggie, you mentioned that there is going to be the next Google and Facebook. I'm sort of hoping that with Web3 we would go more towards decentralization, so that you don't need to have massive amount of capital basically to actually be gaining a space in the market. So more small companies, small individual entrepreneurs will be able to develop their products in the space, and actually they will have a new venue to sell them as well. So with the technology developing, almost anybody in the future can be a developer in technology. You can be a clothes designer, you can be artisan, and sell your digital products online. And I'm hoping that there is not going to be next Facebook. I'm hoping that most of these will be actually community developed and community driven. So that might be a dream, but
Definitely.
I completely agree with that point. And I think just kind of building on your point, to your question, Sigmund, about the whole creator economy, that is how I envision people will, in 5 years' time, let's say, we're all going to leave our 9-to-5 corporate job, or a lot of us will, and we're going to start pursuing our passion project. I could be a creator, I could be a developer. I'm going to go online, find my little pocket of people who enjoys spirituality and yoga. We're going to start a DAO together, and we're going to have a common goal. Let's say, we organize a conference like this. People make decisions together. People share the profit from that little DAO. And that is how I see the future of the co-creator economy is going towards. A long tail of all these different passion projects instead of a few big tech giants that's controlling the entire internet space.
Definitely. I'm very curious on that point because, I agree with you. We're going to see people move into the space. We're nowhere near mass adoption. In fact, I think we're still a ways from it. If that happens, what is there, or is there going to be a counter effect in the real world? I can't imagine, we see lots of, I guess you could say unemployment in the real world because everyone's moving into the metaverse. But where's the line? Where are we going to see that integration to where people have that kind of balance or that mix, or is there going to be one?
Do you want to take it, or is it me? Please. Okay. All right. Interesting. I think people are really smart, and I think people are really resilient, and that when one wave kind of dies down, there's another wave. There's going to be a lot of education involved, and people are going to go and learn that. And why I'm making that statement is when I think about like Internet 1.0 to Internet 2.0 to now the Internet 3.0, every single time there is that like technology jump, people are going to go back to school and learn it. So even though there's going to be a lot of people in Metaverse, I don't think we're going to lose a lot of jobs in the physical world, or like people are going to just jump to the job in a Metaverse, right? So it's just like, is that what you're asking? Like it's just going to be a career change.
Exactly. It's where's the line, right? We're not going to have a bunch of unemployment. But
Right.
to what extent is the metaverse really going to encapsulate society, right? Like how many big companies are going to move to this? Are all companies going to have a stake in the metaverse? Are just some?
Gotcha.
Maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit, Sammy. In your perspective, how many companies are going to get into this? What is the speed that you think we're going to see, and what effect is it going to have?
I think, well, first of all, there is going to be always a demand for brick and mortar type of operations. So online gaming has been there for ages already. I still like to go to brick and mortar casinos as well. I like to go occasionally to stores. I avoid clothes shopping. That I do online, but like there is always like, it's up to preferences of people, but there is always going to be demand for traditional businesses as well. So I don't think we are going to switch completely to Metaverse, but if we look at how much our screen time or virtual time has increased past 20 years, it's going to increase even further. So as I mentioned, people are going to be spending, I estimate that people are going to be spending more than 50% of their capital in 10, 15 years in different kinds of virtual realities, to be honest.
Definitely.
I'm just going to build on that. I think aside from the service industry, so like, your haircut, I'm getting a massage, that's still in the physical world. But aside from the service industry, all the other industries, I can see virtually every single company at least having presence in the metaverse. And the reason being is, just like how digital, like, we're on our phone for everything now, everything from like Uber Eats to dating website to everything. Like I'm on my phone now. It's gonna go, we're gonna see the same trend in the metaverse. And that means companies need to be prepared about having a presence in a metaverse in the early days, or people are going to forget about them and they're going to identify someone else as that first mover advantage.
Definitely. I think, just to add on to that, the transition between Web 2.0 and Web 3.0 is going to be massive. I think there's an incredibly large market there right now for companies that are looking to move. Because simply said, and we touched on this at the beginning of the panel, is that companies are safe right now. Right? They feel comfortable. They don't want to take risks. They don't want to be the first. They don't want to fail. So unless there's a reason to move, why move? And I think you're going to see a very similar pattern to the adoption curve take place. I mean, even what we're doing with our company in Dubai right now, in IBC, is figuring out how can we take companies, whether they be large companies, medium companies, or just small creators, how can we get them into the metaverse? How can we do it efficiently? And how can we do it in a way where there's still, you see, a majority decentralized? So very quickly, we have 1 minute left. I want to ask both of you, where do you see the metaverse being in 5 years? But more importantly, where do you want to see it?
I definitely would love to see it more community-driven, less centralized. So it would be fantastic to see metaverses that have thousands or tens of thousands of developers contributing to the metaverse. I think the industry is going to develop really fast. The new VR devices are developing so fast that you are now able to see in 5 to 10 years. You are able to feel as well and maybe even smell. So it's going to be quite a ride.
Kind of like Ready Player One or Ready Player Two. I read that book as well. I think for me, I would love to see the hardware improving. Because right now, when I put on my VR goggle, I get dizzy. Like, I can't do it more than like half an hour. So if the AR goggles, I know Apple is like really big on launching the next AR, like Snapchat is launching the next AR goggles. If I can comfortably wear a pair of glasses and be in a metaverse for, let's say, 5 hours straight, then I can see most people, instead of having your phone, you're now going to have your AR goggles, and that's going to allow you to enter the metaverse and stay in there, and then we're going to see a lot more activities happening.
Definitely. And for anyone in Web 2 looking to convert to Web 3, it'd be definitely great to chat after as well. Thank you to both of our panelists, and yeah, wishing you a wonderful rest of the day.